you missed all of our excitement and saying that we're so excited to be here with you all. Thank you so, so much. We can see the numbers going up. So we're just around 257 and counting. And we've had around 1,000 people register for today, which is so amazing. So thank you so, so much, everyone, for being here. We're just going to let people join the call for the next couple of minutes. So in the meantime, it would be so amazing if you could introduce yourself, your name, where you're joining the call from, and if you're connected to a project. It's always nice to hear if you've done planning for Refugee Week, and we'll do a little poll in a little bit. One of the really wonderful things about Refugee Week is that it's community powered and that we're all making it happen. So it's always really nice to get a sense of who's in the space with us today. And let's see, what are people writing? Hello from Singapore. Hello from Sheffield. Coventry, Brighton. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Northern Ireland. Wow.
It's in Colchester.
Wow. This is amazing. So beautiful. I just saw Kenya. Hello, our colleagues from Kenya. So nice to see you. Very excited that you'll be joining Refugee Week this year.
Still Bristol in the house.
Yeah, nice.
Wales.
Oh, so nice. Hello from Amsterdam. Yeah, Refugee Week Netherlands. Refugee Welcome Netherlands did amazing last year. They joined for the first time and had an incredible program. And this year they're expanding to 3 cities. I can't wait to hear about your program. So yeah, thank you so, so much. So I think maybe, should we get started? Yes? Okay, cool. Let's get started. And as people join, we can invite them to introduce themselves in the chat as well. So yeah, very, very warm welcome to everyone and welcome to the Refugee Week conference. So my name is Lara and I'm the Refugee Week UK and Global Coordinator. So my job involves overseeing the UK campaign, but also supporting the global development of the festival. And I'm just really, really passionate about Refugee Week. I think anyone that knows me knows that I live and breathe Refugee Week all year round. I think my background is in arts and festivals, and I think festivals and the arts, of course, have this amazing power to become this catalyst for connection, to bring people together, to create moments for collaboration. And Refugee Week's model, being decentralized, I think is one of the most incredible festivals that I've had the pleasure and privilege to work on. And yeah, I'm just so excited to be with you today. And we have such a wonderful couple of hours planned for you, some amazing speakers and performers, and we'll be announcing all of this year's resources as well. And I'm really happy to be joined by MoYah. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Lara. And I'm very grateful to be here and also amongst all of you. So my name is MoYah. I am a Mozambican-born hip-hop, Afrofusion, multidisciplinary artist who's based in UK, as well as the co-founder of Refugee Week Portugal.
Yeah, really exciting. So yeah, a little bit about today's program. I don't know if you want to give us a little overview.
Okay, cool. So we've got a very exciting program. So this conference is a global gathering bringing together the Refugee Week network, both new and returning. And the aim is to connect, inspire, and get ready for the upcoming festival in June. So over the next couple of hours, we'll be reflecting on why Refugee Week matters right now. We'll also explore this year's theme, which is courage. We'll hear from organizers, artists, and partners across the network, and also share clear and practical ways which all of us can take part this June 2026. And our aim is that you leave here today feeling connected to others, confident about how you can be part of Refugee Week wherever you are.
Amazing. And I'm just looking at the numbers. There's 500 people on this call right now, which is wonderful. So yeah, oh my God, someone from Nebraska. Hi, welcome. So just before we start today's session, I just wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping and some practical notes. So if you run into any tech issues, please drop a message in the chat and one of our colleagues will do their best to assist you. And we really encourage everyone to use the chat throughout so you can share reflections, questions. There's actually a Q&A button. It's probably the best place to put the questions so we can see them more clearly. And we just ask everyone to be respectful in the chat and on the Q&A. There is also a Zoom toolbar at the bottom. You can click closed captions, so that will give you captions at the bottom, but you can also do translation if you need, so you can set the language on there. And all the sessions are being recorded today, and we will be sending clips of all the sessions after today. And just to say as well that even though Refugee Week is rooted in joy and celebration, we also know that these conversations can also bring up different emotions. So please feel free to step away and just look after yourself today. And you'll maybe have noticed that we are on webinar mode. So throughout today, you're very welcome to stand up if you're able to and stretch and take a break. And yeah, you can listen while you're moving around as well. But we have 2 breaks programmed today as well.
And I'm seeing more places. I've seen Mexico, Ukraine, and Washington, D.C.
Whoa, amazing.
So before we hear from our first speaker, we wanted to briefly introduce Refugee Week, especially for those that are joining for the first time. Refugee Week is the world's largest arts and culture festival, celebrating the contributions, creativity, and resilience of people seeking sanctuary, past and present. It takes place every year, and it's always around World Refugee Day in June, and it's made of thousands of locally organized events across the world. What makes Refugee Week special is that it's a community-powered arts and culture festival. Everyone is invited to help make the festival happen wherever they are, and you can take part whether you're a school, library, an artist, a football club, a museum, theater, faith group, council, business, community organization, or an individual. Events can be anything from citywide festivals to local neighborhood walks, shared meals, film screenings, performances, and also school activities, or even simply just by putting up a poster. Every simple act counts, and we'll tell you a little bit more about simple acts later. And ultimately, at its heart, Refugee Week is a platform to share stories, culture, and creativity in order to create moments of connection with the power to build and strengthen community by doing what we deepen our collective understanding of the root causes of displacement and what it all means to seek safety, and invite us all to work towards a more just and hopeful future for all of us. And with that in mind, we're going to begin by understanding Refugee Week within the current wider global context. So I am very, very happy to welcome Vicky Tennant, the UNHCR representative to the United Kingdom. Vicky has served with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees since 2000 in a range of roles, both at the headquarters in Geneva and in field operations, including Pakistan, Afghanistan, Ethiopia, Somalia, Sudan, and Myanmar. We're grateful she's joining us today to share reflections on the current global displacement context and the landscape that Refugee Week is operating within. Vicky, over to you.
Thank you so much, MoYah, and thank you, Lara. And it's always a really lovely opportunity to join this incredible network of individuals and organizations that come together to mark Refugee Week. So thanks for having me once again. And I just have really 5 points I'm going to touch on, just to position us a bit in the global context when we're thinking about Refugee Week and what it brings, and just to speak to the question that Lara raised as to, why does Refugee Week matter, and why does it matter just now in particular? So look, I think the global context speaks for itself, really. We are living at a time when we have unprecedented numbers of people forcibly displaced around the world. We have an unprecedented number of active conflicts ongoing, 130 at the moment. And that means that the direct human impact is playing out in people being forced across borders, people being forcibly displaced within their own countries, people trapped in situations of long-term displacement, people living for 5, 10, 20 years as refugees in countries neighboring their own. And it's also a moment when that global solidarity, which is so needed, is increasingly under strain. And that kind of common bargain, which is about upholding access to safety, upholding access to protection, is to some extent being called into question. And that's why events like Refugee Week, movements like the Refugee Week movement are just so significant. We are at a moment when the financial support to refugees and to the countries that are hosting most of the world's refugees has been dramatically cut. And that means that it's the countries, neighboring countries in crisis, it's the lower and middle income countries like Chad, like Bangladesh, all the countries that are hosting the majority of the world's refugees that are really feeling that. And we as UNHCR are seeing that very visibly in our operations around the world, in the cuts to services, in the cuts to support to refugees. And that's placing them in desperate situations. And we're seeing more and more people then on the move, having to move beyond the countries where they have first sought protection. And regrettably, what we're also seeing is that hostility against and towards refugees is on the rise. Hostility towards those who defend refugees is on the rise. And at this time, this is really why this kind of moment is so crucial. And that moment when we come together to honor the courage of refugees and honor the courage of those who are standing together with them under so much pressure. I just want to underscore as UNHCR, our enduring commitment to Refugee Week. We would be really happy to be one of the partners really from the very beginning. And we support it really because it has this incredible effect of building connection and understanding across communities, and it activates networks and individuals and organizations who might not be so visible at other times of the year. And we're really delighted that it's now taken on this international dimension. And I really want to commend Lara and all the colleagues who have been working to make that happen. And I love it when I get queries and emails from offices in other UNHCR operations asking about Refugee Week and saying we want to be involved and we want to help build that in the countries where we're working. I want to give a quick shout out to the Refugee Convention. This year we're marking the 75th anniversary of the Refugee Convention, and it's from the UNHCR perspective, we just see how valuable it is, how that principle and that commitment that no one should ever be forced back to a situation where they're facing persecution, where they're facing danger, where their life may be at risk, where their freedom might be at risk. That is so important, and it is really important that we kind of gather around that key legal framework that has essentially provided safety and saved lives for so many millions of people around the world over recent decades. And it's a legal framework, but it's also brought to life through the actions and the activities of all of us, and that includes civil society. And it's about translating those legal commitments into real safety, real solutions, and dignity for refugees. We were really delighted to see the theme for this year, celebrating courage. And it's really important, of course, that Refugee Week celebrates the courage of refugees, the incredible courage, the incredible resilience of so many refugees around the world. But I think it is important today that we're also speaking about and acknowledging the courage of civil society, of those who work with for refugees who reach out to refugees in so many different ways. And that requires incredible persistence for organizations. It's often about struggling through with limited resources and all sorts of different pressures, misinformation, disinformation, and all the political dynamics around, unfortunately, around issues related to refugees and migrations, and we all know how challenging that is, not only in the UK but also in other contexts as well. And when we're thinking about courage, I think it's important to recognize that courage isn't only about the dramatic acts of courage. It's really about what we do in our daily lives, and it's that daily commitment, that quiet commitment to upholding rights and to upholding dignity. And Refugee Week, I think, is a really important moment to mark that and to give visibility and give life to all those quiet acts of courage. And then the final thing I really wanted to say is that I think what Refugee Week also does is it gives space for us to grow courage, and to grow it through a sense of partnership, a sense of shared purpose. We have so many organizations and individuals. We have churches, we have schools, we have community organizations, we have sports clubs, we have arts organizations and communities, literally working every day to change lives, to help people achieve that sense of belonging, to help them navigate these what can often be quite complex systems and challenges, and doing that with a kind of steadiness and a compassion, even when the environment is sometimes hostile. And I think by bringing us all together and giving voice to that collective courage, it also helps build courage. It helps us inspire each other. It helps us, I think, take inspiration from what each of us is doing. And I think by standing together, we build a greater courage as well. So I just want to really underscore that as UNHCR, we remain absolutely a 100% committed partner to Refugee Week. And I just want to salute the courage of all those who are online today, and just to say that you light the path for all of us, I think, towards a more compassionate society where refugees can truly belong. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vicky, for such inspirational, motivational, just reminders. Beautiful. Thank you for that. So before we continue, we'd love to hear from you. So we're going to launch 2 quick polls. The first one is, have you taken part in Refugee Week before? So if you could vote, we'd love to know.
Okay. Oh, live responses.
Live response.
Wow, this is amazing. Okay, it's like a little competition. Okay, over 50%, quite frequently, more than once, have taken part in Refugee Week. Oh, I realized I asked the same question twice, so that's super helpful of me to have done that. Right, maybe quite 50-50 split of people taking part for the first time and people having taken part before. Okay, about 60% have answered, so we'll just give it a minute or two for everyone to have the opportunity. Also, if you were to describe Refugee Week in one word, needs a little moment to think about how would you describe Refugee Week in one word?
Ooh, I don't know. One word is not enough. Community, Global community superpower.
dash.
So almost half more than once.
Nice. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. It's also so wonderful to read where everyone is joining the call from and hear the amazing projects that you're part of. Everything from artists I've seen, from different organizations and projects, initiatives. So wonderful to be part of this collective. So yeah, thank you so much. So I think we'll maybe end the poll there. I'm so sorry if you haven't had a chance to respond. There is, when we end the call, there's another survey, so you'll be able to give us some more of your feedback there. But yeah, so we'll just end the poll now. And I'm not sure if you will... It's ended. My colleague is telling me discreetly in the background. Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll share. Does everyone get to see that? Okay, nice. So we'll just move on. So thank you so much, Vicky, for those really beautiful words. And yeah, it really resonates so deeply with everything you shared, in that sense of growing collective courage feels more important than ever before. So yeah, so now I'm really delighted to invite to the stage Almir Koldzic, who is the director and co-founder of Counterpoints Arts. And actually, we're in the Counterpoints Arts office right now. And Almir is going to take us a little bit deeper into the story of how this movement began, how it's evolved, and also why it matters so much more, why it matters so much now. Almir, thank you so much for being with us today, and over to you.
Thank you, Lara. Thank you, MoYah. Hello, everyone. Hello, courageous people. And thank you, Vicky, for the wonderful introduction and start today. It's a really important reminder how courage and solidarity are so needed now in this increasingly hostile context that we are working. So I'm Almir Koldzic. I am director of Counterpoints Arts. We are an arts organization focusing on displacement and migration. And as Lara said, we are the incredibly proud coordinators of Refugee Week. I'm going to spend 5 or so minutes just telling you a brief history of Refugee Week. And I will start by telling you my own connection to this initiative, which began in 1998. It was shortly after I arrived to the UK, having fled the wars in Yugoslavia, that I ended up volunteering for a Refugee Week event in London. And there I met an extraordinary group of people, artists, families, organizers, activists, full of talent, energy, extraordinary skills, and they looked nothing like the stereotypes I had seen in the media. And the fact that I'm here now, nearly 30 years later, I think speaks very powerfully to the lasting impact that the festival Refugee Week can have on people, and it certainly has had on me. So we will start with the beginning. So when Refugee Week started, this was the first logo of Refugee Week, and it started in 1999 by a small group of refugee charities who wanted to challenge negative stereotypes, to encourage understanding and create spaces for connection. The first events of Refugee Week were mostly held in London, but over time, the festival started gradually growing, spread across the UK, and developed distinct programs in Scotland, in Wales, Northern Ireland, cities across England. And its growth of Refugee Week was quite organic, but it was also in line with what we always hoped Refugee Week would be, which is this democratic platform that is locally owned, locally led, but nationally connected. So this was the first logo. The second interpretation of Refugee Week, visual identity, spoke to some extent in the early years of the time when Refugee Week was still looking for its voice. At that time, the themes were focused heavily on issues such as genocide and conflict and persecution, safety, all crucial, very important issues. But what we began to realize at that time is that by telling only stories of suffering and victimhood, we risked reinforcing the very stereotypes and narratives that we were trying to challenge. So from 2006 onwards, we started working on reframing Refugee Week as an arts and cultural festival. And we did it because culture has been a space where societies make meaning, where public understanding of issues is developed. It is the space where identities are shaped, where narratives are challenged, where belonging is negotiated. Shifting to this arts and culture focus also enabled us to tell a much fuller and more diverse story of the refugee experience, where we didn't only speak about struggles, but we could also focus on strength, on joy, creativity, resilience. And this shift then was reflected in everything, in terms of starting with our branding, to the way how we started building partnerships and creating new energy. So over the coming years, Refugee Weeks evolved from this small community and NGO-led festival to a nationwide cultural moment. It became a celebration that featured music, exhibitions, theaters, film, food, sport, community gatherings, all these events that we now associate with Refugee Week and that often bring people together in joyful, creative, and reflective ways. These are just a few examples of various things happening in public spaces, activations, demonstrations, and so on. Each year, new themes that we have been introducing invite people to interpret the refugee experience in fresh and imaginative ways. And through campaigns and creative resources, we have been working over the years on highlighting refugee contributions to our arts, history, heritage, culture, sports. We've been telling stories through our themes of welcome, of solidarity, healing, compassion, community. And in doing all of this, we've been trying to see how we can turn celebration into awareness and awareness into action. And one of the initiatives that we developed some time ago was our Simple Act approach, a Simple Act initiative, which was our way of breaking down this idea that we invite people to engage with refugee experience. But to do so, we decided to break it down into simple, everyday actions that anyone can do. Things like share a meal, read a book, learn someone's story. And we have been using it as a prompt for people to participate, but also as a reminder that welcome begins with simple human gestures. One really important aspect of Refugee Week throughout these years has been that it's always been a partnership between different initiatives, different organizations supporting it, different community groups coming together. But also over the years, we've been looking to build partnerships that take us beyond our advocacy spaces, that take us to new audiences. And these partnerships have included cultural institutions, media platforms, brands such as the lovely Moomins collaboration that we did last year, with artists, public figures, all of that with the view of helping us reach audiences far beyond those already engaged. And, the idea has been that through art, culture, and storytelling, we diversify narratives, we create connections, we inspire reflection. And to do so, we knew that the best and the most impactful way is by creating these partnerships with as many different people as we can. And now we are coming to the point that, as MoYah said, Refugee Week is now the world's largest arts and culture festival, but it's much more than a festival now. It's really become a global movement, now celebrated in over 20 countries, reaching millions of people and powered by communities, by creativity, by collaboration. And all of that working towards this vision of creating more just, more joyful, and more sustainable shared home. And, my final reflection on this, why does it still matter? Why is Refugee Week nearly 30 years on? so important. And, as Vicky said, the context is dire. And we could say that the mission of Refugee Week to create connection, to diversify narratives, to inspire dialogue through art, culture, and storytelling feels more relevant and urgent than ever. Yes, because of this hostile context, but also because so many people are now displaced. And Refugee Week has become the major platform that shows us and reminds us that refugees, that people fleeing wars are much more than what they flee from. It's also about what they bring with them, what they are able to create in their new societies, in their new homes. But also Refugee Week reminds us that our communities are much stronger when we create space for one another. Benjamin Zephaniah many years ago said, Refugee Week is the vehicle for telling these amazing stories. We want to create a more compassionate society where we don't need Refugee Week, but until then, this is how we do it. So I leave it there. Thank you all very much. It's been a pleasure to take a small part here.
Thank you so much, Almir, for being with us today. It's so wonderful to hear where we've come from. And now to give us a little insight into where we're going and the changes that we make as a movement, I'm delighted to invite Allan Njanji to join us from Heal Collective. Thank you so much, Allan, for being here with us today, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Lara, for that. I appreciate it. Could we have our first slide, please? And then I'll introduce myself. Thank you. Okay, so hello, everyone. My name is Allan Njanji. I'm sure you can tell with the surname that I'm very African and specifically very Zimbabwean indeed. I'm here on behalf of Heal Collective. Heal stands for Hostile Environment Art Field Learning, and we are a migration arts and learning collective. I'd like to introduce you to Refugee Week's new theory of change. Over the past year, I've been honored to be part of a team entrusted by Refugee Week to explore how they create change, especially in the lives of refugees and asylum seekers, and in the society more broadly. Some of you may know about my asylum journey. It has profoundly shaped my campaigning and advocacy, driving my commitment to influence and transform social and political change to improve the lives of refugees and people seeking asylum in the UK and beyond. Next slide, please, Lara. So this work has meant a great deal to me. I co-founded Heal Collective with my co-directors, Anna Ball and Margaret Ravenscroft, because I know firsthand how important it is for people who are refugees and asylum seekers to be part of conversations about what change is and how our creative voices can help make that change happen. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge how grateful we are at Heal for the opportunity to work with Refugee Week on a project so aligned with our own mission to change the narrative about sanctuary and refugee rights within society. Next slide, please. So during our journey with Refugee Week, we spent time with the team exploring the thinking and vision behind the festival. We also spoke with organizations, producers, participants, and others across the Refugee Week community to understand why and how they believe it makes a difference. Next slide, please. The result of all this work is that we've been able to develop a really clear understanding of why Refugee Week seeks to make change, how it makes the change, and what change emerges through Refugee Week. We are delighted to share our theory of change with you, a clear guide that explains how and why Refugee Week creates a positive impact. We hope it helps others understand our work and see how they can be part of the journey. Also, a quick shout out to Jana Belchava for her beautiful design on this document. Next slide, please. This work is vital as we face global challenges like climate change and its impact on displacement, economic inequality, and increasingly restrictive immigration policies that punish those seeking asylum. These pressures are driving social polarization and the resurgence of the far right, making our mission more urgent than ever. I'm sure we all know well, without specifying the parties and the names, we all know what the far right is doing to our communities. So the question then becomes, how can we possibly tackle these changes? What we found through our consultation is that Refugee Week approaches this task in a unique way. Next slide, please. So rather than through political conflict, we use the power of refugee-led arts and culture to bring people together. These joyful connections offer more authentic stories about migration than those typically seen in the media. By creating spaces that invite community connection and platforms that amplify refugee voice, we found that Refugee Week makes changes to the ways that people think, feel, and behave, and that they do this simply by creating and celebrating together. Whether you are new to Refugee Week or already involved, I mean, we saw the poll that some people are first time and some people have been doing it for a while. We hope this festival's core values and intentions will guide and inspire your work. We encourage you to reflect on these principles as you plan your own contributions. Next slide, please. For example, the vision that guides all of Refugee Week's work is that of, firstly, a world in which refugees and people seeking sanctuary have the freedom to live safely, to express themselves freely, and to realize their full potential in the communities they are part of. Also, we want a world in which sanctuary is recognized as our shared right, and migration is understood as part of our collective human story. How might your activities be guided by this vision, you could ask. Next slide, please. You might want to think about values and shared principles that we found amongst the people who make Refugees Week happen, including statements like that everyone is welcome, that we hold space for joy and for grief, that wherever possible, Refugee Week centers and is led by the insights and contributions of people who have experienced the asylum system firsthand, and that sanctuary is a right that we all share. Our universal need for a safe and welcoming home should be something that connects us rather than divides us. I'm sure we all see the forces that are trying to divide our communities within the UK at the moment, and we hope that all of those things will go away soon. Next slide, please. You might be wondering who Refugee Week is for. The simple answer is everyone. But it reaches different groups in different ways, including people with lived experience of displacement, local communities in everyday spaces like schools and parks, and even those who are unsure about refugee solidarity. Next slide, please. The theory of change explains the outcomes and impact of our work, showing why it matters and how it matters, why it matters and how it matters a difference between beyond Refugee Week itself. It highlights both short-term changes in how people connect across communities and longer-term shifts in how sanctuary and migration are understood, and invites you to work towards these goals in your own events and contributions. But above all, we hope that this theory of change will give you an insight into the most important thing about Refugee Week, which is that everyone has a part to play and that you do not have to be an expert to be involved. All that's needed is a bit of creativity, willingness to make something happen, and positive community spirit. Because now more than ever, those are the things we need to make a change. And the last slide, please, Lara. It's with those spirits in mind that we want to share a piece of work that we've made by a member of the Heal Collective. Her name is Reem Takriti, to celebrate the launch of the Theatre of Change. This is a special piece of work because Reem has supported both Heal and Nottingham Refugee Week for many years as a festival photographer. This 1-minute film gave her the chance to celebrate her work and learn stop motion animation using her own photos to create it. This beautifully shows how we can all use our creativity to share powerful messages with the world. So I'm now going to pass over to Reem to introduce herself and her film and to play it for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Allan. And hello, everyone. My name is Reem Takriti. I'm a Syrian journalist and filmmaker. And I have been a refugee in the UK for the past 3 years. I have been very lucky because to meet Anna through Refugee Week. When I joined Refugee Week 3 years ago, I was still new in the UK, and I found a community of some of the kindness people who support refugee and asylum seeker, where I feel safe and impressed and inspired. I also remember meeting Allan at that time. I was scared, not working yet, and I didn't understand the country very well. He simply said to me, Reem, please don't give up, keep going. I was like you once day. And here I am. So I still remember those words today, and that's why I believe Refugee Week is a space refugee really need. It helps people feel they are not alone and that someone care about them. So since then, I have been part of Refugee Week in Nottingham, and it has made me really happy because I keep meeting people with the strong human value. Last year, Anna invited me to be part of a team making the theory of change for Refugee Week, and I want to thank her for this amazing opportunity because it was a completely new experience for me, and where I made a short film. It may look simple and fast, but it took a long time for me because I wanted to be fully handmade. So I would like to share a few behind the scenes photo. Please, Lara, if you can start showing them now. Yeah, so this of the work. So we want to through a long process of drawing and design, and of course you cannot change the photos. My son joined me in this work too. He was very happy and proud of what he achieved. So I am. And we start with the hand drawing, then turn them into a digital frame, and the film was made across 3 different homes. And also, I want to say a big thank you to Sundos, our illustrator. And honestly, it was a quite funny for me. Me and Sundos were both pregnant, and we were still making this film by hand. So we really had to put a double of effort. And thank you so much also to Hanan Habaj, the voiceover for the film. I'm really grateful for the final result, and I hope you enjoy the film. And even though the past year has been really hard for refugee because of the news and the new immigration rules, and I still believe that space like Refugee Week can make the impossible feel possible. So, and thank you so much for listening to me. And now I back to Lara to play the film. I hope you like it. Thank you.
The world is full of change at the moment. And some of those changes are pulling us further apart. At Refugee Week, we think there are better ways for us to live well together. That's why we make time each year for people to connect through the power of arts and culture. By shining a spotlight on the contributions, creativity, and resilience of people who are refugees or seeking sanctuary, we invite everyone to celebrate all that we share and all that makes us unique, and to explore sanctuary as both our shared right and as part of our shared story for a better future. Find out more about our theory of change and how you can be part of it at refugeeweek.org.
Well, I loved that animation so much, and I must have watched it about 100 times now. I've shared it with all my friends and family. You're watching it for the first time.
First time, it was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's so nice. And Reem, thank you so much for being with us today to give us a little behind the scenes. Like you say, it looks simple. I don't actually think it looks simple. It looks really hard, but I can see how many hours of work and thinking and so much care and thoughtfulness has gone into that. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today. And we will share that video on the public marketing folder so everyone is able to share that on their channels as well and have access to it as well. And I think my colleague has also shared the full theory of change document that Allan was talking through before as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Allan and Reem. We're going to pause for a few moments for a musical performance, and we're very excited to be joined by the wonderful Rama Alcoutlabi. I hope I pronounced it okay. And Rama Alcoutlabi is a Syrian vocalist, a music educator, a researcher based in London. She performs sacred and traditional vocal music, exploring its philosophical depth and the question it raises about identity, belief, and human connection. Rama, over to you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rama. I'm so excited to be with you. I have a big exam happening in a couple of hours, but I thought I wouldn't want to miss the opportunity of being with you. Thank you for having me. I came to the UK 5 years ago from Syria, from a small town in Syria called Salamiyeh, which is a small city of a religious minority. Although we don't like these days to use the word religious minorities. I got a scholarship to do my master's here, and then after finishing, I claimed asylum because it was kind of almost impossible to go back to Syria. And I have a background in engineering. My master's was in research methodologies, but when I stayed in an asylum-seeking hotel for 1 year, I was face to face with challenges that that lies within the refugee scheme in general in the UK. And it was a very difficult experience for me. So this brought me back to music, and music helped me a lot. And I thought if music can help me, it should also be able to help other refugees. And so I started Music for Peace Building, a community interest company, where I designed methods of teaching that through which people, specifically refugees in London, can learn music while the process of learning can aid mental health and can aid any damage of self-image that can come up as a result of displacement. And this is what brought me back to music. And now I'm doing a big career shift. Inshallah, hopefully I'm going to be doing a Master's of Philosophy in Music in some of the greatest universities in the UK. And I want to delve deeper into exploring how music can connect us, how music can connect us to our identity, and how music can connect us to our roots. And I am going to perform something with you that is basically traditional music from Syria. Because, music is the main tool that can, when we really, really, really miss home, we listen to traditional music, we listen to Fairuz in the morning to kind of connect us to that place where we felt that we belong. So I hope you like it. It's going to be simple. It's called Arrozana. عروسنا عروسنا كل الهنا فيها شو عملت الروزنا الله يجازيها وعالروزانة كل ليل هنا فيها شو عملت الروزانة الله يجازيها يا رايحين عحلم حبي معكم راح يا محملين العنب تحت العنب تفاح كل من وليف ومعه وانا وليفي راح يا ربي نسمتها وترد والفليا عالروزانة الليل هنا فيها شو عملت الروزانة الله يجازيها شو عملت الروزانة الله يجازيها. Thank you.
Wow.
There is
Thank you so
almost
much.
600 people on the call right now, and we're all clapping for you, Rama.
Oh, thank you so much. I see lots of clapping in hearts. Seems so much to me. Thank you.
Voices like crystal clear, like water, like honey and milk. It's so beautiful, and I felt so moved by what you shared. It was just, you spoke straight from the heart, and it went straight to my heart. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Calming. It was absolutely beautiful.
It was amazing. Yeah, I just have
Thank
tears in
you.
my eyes. Thank you. And you've come just before you have an exam. Go study.
Wish me luck. Sending love to each one of you who is attending this this meeting. Even though I can't see all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rama, for being with us. And from all 600 of us, good luck for your exam today. You've got this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So we're now just going to have a little 5-minute break so you can take a little moment. And during the break, we're going to be playing some music from a Refugee Week radio show from last year. And it's also an invitation for everyone to take part in Refugee Week On Air this year. So it's an international radio program where everyone is invited to take part around the world. So last year, I think we had over 20 countries with radio community and independent radio stations take part. So so now we're going to have a 5-minute break and we'll be listening to some tunes in the background. Thank you so much and see you in 5 minutes, everyone.
NTS Radio.
welcome to this Refugee Week special. I am Gabby.
And I'm Ornella.
And for the next hour, we're playing music that carries the spirit of resistance, community, and joy.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. So that was a little snapshot of Refugee Week On Air from NTS Radio, but there was over 20 community and independent radio stations that took part last year. So if you go on the website, you'll find more about how you can take part as well. So thank you so much, and I'm really excited. Oh no, I'm talking your bit. This is your bit.
We're now going to turn into this year's theme. Some of you may know it already, and that is courage. And I'm really pleased to welcome Dr. Dima Mekdad, the co-chair of Refugee Week and executive director of Shubak Festival in London. Alongside her leadership work, Dima is also a storyteller, a writer, a somatic practitioner whose practice centers culture, care, and social change. Dima, welcome.
Thank you so much, MoYah. Hello, everyone. Very happy to be with you here today. I have a few words to share. I'll be reading some of them on the screen. And may I begin by inviting us all to place a palm on the left side of our chest and take a moment to remember your heart, your cur in Latin, the root of the word courage, as Refugee Week's theme reminds us. When I reflect on moments in my life when I have felt disappointed in myself, I usually find that I've compromised on one of my core values, courage being one of them. We often speak of courage of refugees and asylum seekers, the courage it takes to survive, to flee, to seek sanctuary, and we hold that courage up as an inspiration. Yet we sometimes forget that for many, courage is not a choice. It is a necessity for survival. When the only route to safety runs through danger, courage becomes the only path available. But what about everyone else? What about those of us who live in relative safety, for whom courage is in fact a choice? When we think of courage, We tend to think about grand historical moments and historic figures and heroic figures, and we root for the protagonist. When they falter or lose faith, we lean forward in hope that they will choose courage over and overcome their fear. From the ancient mythology to children's book, from literature and film to the news, we are repeatedly moved by courage. We admire it as though it lives somewhere out there, in the story, in the hero, and we forget that it begins here, beneath the spawn, in our own hearts. Across cultures and centuries, the heart has been linked to courage. Ancient Egyptians left it in the body during mummification for courage on Judgment Day. In Homer's Iliad, warriors spoke of their heart urging them forward. In Confucian and Taoist thought, the qi, the heart-mind, unifies emotion, intellect, and moral courage. Many African and indigenous cultures speak of the heart center, of the heart strength. In several Bantu languages, a strong heart signifies courage and bravery. Medieval European knights praised the brave heart, and in Islamic Sufism, the heart is the center of spiritual perception and courage. But why? Why has the heart, among all our vital organs, become the symbol of courage over and over, through and through? I have lingered in with this question while preparing these words. Perhaps it's because when we face fear, our sympathetic nervous system activates and our heart begins to race and we feel courage in our chest before we actually act. Or perhaps early humans understood something simpler. When the heart stops, life stops. Survival and courage became intertwined. And now, when most of us no longer hunt for food or flee predators, what does courage look like? When does an act become courageous? I believe an act becomes courageous when it asks us to take a risk, when it asks us to move through fear or step into uncertainty. The hardest form of courage, I believe, is the courage to be vulnerable, to choose courage over comfort, as Brené Brown describes it, to open ourselves to someone perceived as different, to connect rather than retreat. That kind of courage can make the heart flutter far more than rejection or attack ever could. Yet sometimes in trying to protect ourselves from fear, we slip into what I would call pseudo-courage, a hardened stance that creates distance and division, a pseudo-courage that feels strong, but in fact fractures connection. It may appear bold, but it leaves the heart more tense, more frightened, and more closed. Today, I invite you to open your heart, to lead from your heart, to choose not just courage, but the most courageous form of it, the courage to open, to welcome, to be compassionately curious. As the Refugee Week team reminded us when announcing this year's theme, courage is not always loud. It can be found in simple acts, opening your door to your neighbor, trying new food, reading a book, watching a film that shifts your perspective. It can be speaking up, asking for help, sharing your story, or simply having the courage to be yourself. These are our simple acts for this year. This year marks 75 years since the 1951 Refugee Convention, 1951 Refugee Convention. This convention that was shaped by those in Europe who had lived through war and understood its consequences. They chose to affirm dignity, protection, and hope for those who were forced to flee. Let's remember that moment in history and really lean into it when we are feeling frightened or scared, when we're needing a moment of courage to lean into. I look forward to being in community with you all during this very special Refugee Week. Let's gather all in June and be as courageous as we can be together. Thank you so much for having me, and Ramadan Kareem to those observing Ramadan. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dima. That was so wonderful. Speaking of big hearts, you have one of the biggest hearts I know, and I'm endlessly inspired by your mind and how you lead from your heart. And you're such a wonderful thinker and speaker. So thank you so much for inviting us into your mind and your heart for a little bit. And I know I can see all the comments in the chat. So we'll definitely, I think, publish your words on our website, because I know that so many will take so much from that and everything you've shared today. We've traveled across the world, back in time, forward in time. So thank you so much. That was wonderful. So I guess now we're going to move on to one of the ways that courage comes to life and the theme comes to life for Refugee Week every year. And that's normally through the Refugee Week artwork and the simple acts, which we've spoken a little bit about today. So we're really excited to share the artwork with you today. This is VIP exclusive reveal. Everyone that's on this call is getting a first peek at this. So we're just going to play you a little video to build up the suspense of one of the artists of this year's Refugee Week posters. So we're just going to get some slides up. And it's a very exciting... Oh, I just realized we didn't play this video. The community is a superpower.
It's okay.
Is that okay? Should we play it now, though? Yes, we'll build up the suspense even more. Before we move on to thinking about courage, we really wanted to play this video, which was a video that we made for last year's theme, which was Community as a Superpower. And just to comment on this, well, firstly, MoYah is the voiceover of this video, so you'll hear MoYah's voice in just a second. But this video was made from so many clips from projects from around the world that take part in Refugee Week. And one of the really exciting things is we played this video across all the screens at Glastonbury Festival, which is one of the biggest music festivals in the world. They have 250,000 people that attend. And it was played even on the Pyramid stage, which is one of the most iconic music stages in the world. So before we reveal the artwork for Courage, we wanted to take a moment to reflect back on Community as a Superpower, which was last year. So we'll just quickly play the video.
Community is the incredible everyday, ordinary and extraordinary. Simple acts of shared generosity. Kindness multiplied to become an unstoppable force. Communities can bring people together, bridging divides and offering support. Spaces of resilience and places for healing. This Refugee Week, everyone is invited to spend time with friends and build new connections in and beyond our neighborhoods. From communal meals and open-air film screenings to football matches and music making, let's share the feeling of welcome and belonging. Listening, learning, laughing together. It's amazing what we can do when we move towards a shared goal. So join us this Refugee Week to unleash the superpower of community and help us shape more hopeful futures.
Thank you. So now you have to imagine you're in a sea of people at Glastonbury Festival watching that on the Pyramid stage. It was very exciting. So thank you so much to everyone that took part in Community as a Superpower last year. I really felt the superpower of our community as Refugee Week. It was really wonderful. So back to the drum roll of revealing this year's artist. So we're now going to play a little video that will reveal who is doing the artwork for this year.
Refugee Week is the world's largest arts and culture festival.
Video. Sorry. We're doing this live. We'll play that video too. Okay, so this is it. That's right. So we're very excited to announce that Sir Quentin Blake is going to be doing a poster for Courage and all the 10 simple acts. So we'll show you them in just a moment. But his drawings have inspired generations across the world with their warmth, their humor, their humanity. Some of you may have grown up with Quentin Blake illustrations. Some of you, most famously, he illustrated all the Roald Dahl books. So we showed their chocolate Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Matilda, but hundreds and hundreds of illustrations. So Quentin Blake is 93 years old today, and he is still drawing every day. His colleague told me that sometimes he'll do up to 50 drawings a day. And so we're really excited now to show you the artwork that he has done for Courage and for the Simple Acts. And we'll just get that up on the screen for you. So there's a poster for Courage and 10 Simple Acts, which I just realized are very little on this screen right now, but we're going to have a moment to dive into them in a little moment. So we'll show you them a little bit bigger so you can see all of this year's Simple Acts. But all his illustrations will be available for all of us to use. So if you want to use them in your classrooms, in libraries, and community spaces, you can order. If you're based in the UK, you can order the posters and postcards, and we'll send them to you. And if you're based outside of the UK, you can use them digitally and print them yourself. And yes, and now we have also a second artwork. So we'll just go on to the next slide. We also have this poster, which is inspired obviously by the theme of courage, and it's a typographic poster, much more based on the bold message of this year's theme and encouraging us all to have courage. And everyone is essentially welcome to use any of the artwork and resources. Pick and choose. You can use both of them, one of them, and you can choose which one suits your community best. So that's about this year's artwork, and then we've got a session later talking about social media and how you can use some of the assets. But first, we're going to talk about how you actually take part.
Yes, how do you take part in Refugee Week? So to begin, we're going to play a very short video to give you a little flavor of Refugee Week in action.
Yes, so that was the video that started playing that I got my slides wrong in the wrong order. So we'll just get that video up now. Seamless live production happening. Yeah. Thank you.
Refugee Week is the world's largest arts and culture festival celebrating the contributions, resilience, and creativity of people seeking sanctuary. It's a global festival that takes place the same week as World Refugee Day on June the 20th. Refugee Week is an open platform, which means everyone is invited to take part. By supporting local events, taking part in simple acts, or organizing your own activities. Every year, thousands of events take place all around the world, bringing people together to celebrate and connect through arts, music, film, food, sports, and so much more. Join us. Together we can take small steps to create big changes. To find out more information on how to take part, visit refugeeweek.org.uk.
Nice.
Great.
Okay.
So we often say that there are 3 ways which we can get involved in Refugee Week. The first one is support local. Then the second one is take part in simple acts. And the third, hold your own event or activity.
Nice. So we're now on the Refugee Week website. And actually the video we just saw had refugeeweek.org.uk. We're really excited to share that the Refugee Week website is now refugeeweek.org, just to cater to our growing global community. So I'm just going to take you through each of the 3 ways that you can take part. So the first is to support local. So one of the wonderful things is there's thousands of events and activities happening all around the world.
She is.
Oh, I think someone is just on mute. Nope, just us. Okay, cool. So this is the Refugee Week events calendar. So this is a public calendar where everyone is welcome to submit their events. So as we get closer to Refugee Week, this will get populated with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of events. And as they get added, the cities and countries will be added here. So at the moment, we only have 2 events in there in the UK. So there's not much to see, but it's a really great way to find out what's happening on your doorstep. And it's so wonderful to just attend events, but also you're invited to help with organizing events. So another great way to support local is to find out where is Refugee Week being organized near you. We do our best to keep our contact page updated as much as possible. So you can see if you're based in the UK, regional contacts, local contacts, city contacts. But also because we're now a growing international movement, you can see if there's Refugee Week in your country. So if you know a Refugee Week event or community or group that's happening that's not listed, you're always welcome to get in touch with us. But also we'll have a session a little bit later on about how do you start your own Refugee Week if there's not one already happening in your village, in your town, in your city, or in your country. So we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail later on. And then another great way to support local is also if you have a space or if you have a window, it might be as simple as displaying a poster, displaying a message, or offering up your space to be a venue for Refugee Week. And now we're going to go back to the second way you can take part, which is simple acts, and we'll see the illustrations a bit more clearly.
Great. So another great way to get involved is through simple acts. And simple acts are basically small everyday actions anyone can take and stand in solidarity with people seeking sanctuary and build new connections in their communities. So every year, thousands of people take part, sometimes by organizing an event or just by doing one small action during Refugee Week. That could be with friends, with neighbors, classmates, or colleagues. And this year's simple acts are beautifully illustrated by Quentin Blake, which we said earlier. So these are some of the simple acts here. So have a courageous conversation, or get drawing and painting, watching a film together, walk and talk, share food and stories, read a book, let nature inspire you, move together, and join the movement. I love these illustrations.
They're very humorous and have a lot of movement. Nice. And so, yeah, basically, if you were to click on any of these, I'll just very quickly show you what one of these looks like. For example, there's loads of ideas for how you can take part in any of these and recommendations and things like that. So do explore at your own time when you have a moment. And now I'm going to talk about the third way that you can take part in Refugee Week, which is to hold your own event. So there's so many ways that people take part. Last year in the UK, there was 15,000 events and activities in the UK alone. And that's everything from a school assembly to neighbours going on a walk together to also a big citywide festival. Because it's been running in the UK for, we had 28 years. It's really well established in the UK. And there's a lot of for example, Refugee Week Nottingham, we heard from Allan and Reem. It really happens across the city. Everyone's taking part: museums, galleries, theatres, restaurants, cafes, sports clubs, libraries, you name it. So it's really about inviting everyone to take part. We all make Refugee Week happen together. And it can be as small as a simple act, like MoYah was saying, or it can be something more substantial. And one of the things we do on the Refugee Week website is provide a lot of resources to help get you started. So ways that you can take part. So support local, simple acts, and hold an event are the three key ways to take part. And when you're looking at holding your own event, you have a lot of resources to help get you started on the Refugee Week resources page. So I won't go through these in detail now, but you have an event organizer pack and a children and young people's pack. Actually, you know what? I will just show you what one of these looks like. So you have an event organizer pack that gives you a little bit about what is Refugee Week, background, how does it work, why your event and activity matters, our shared values and principles, which Allan was talking about in beautiful detail, which comes from our new theory of change, a little bit about this year's courage. And actually, if you go on here, you'll see this is a way that you can access the artwork from Quentin Blake as well. And this is the other poster that you have access to as well. And I just realized I haven't added these links here, so I will do that after today's conversation. How to take part, the three ways that we've just been going over, and then more detail on each of those. So the simple acts and how you can take part. And then holding your own event, there's a lot of helpful resources here about working in partnership with others, lived experience leadership, so doing participatory spaces, fundraising, marketing, well-being, access, marketing and promotion, safety and security and evaluation. So there's a lot of resources to help get you thinking, and then a helpful checklist as well. And then a lot of signposts. In all the packs, there's a back page which has resources to other resources as well. So I've said the word resources like 100 times now, but you can access the Refugee Week logo, social media toolkit, all that kind of thing. So that's a little bit about the resources. I'm just going to check that I haven't missed anything that would be helpful to share. No, and actually in a moment we're going to hear from our colleagues about social media and film, and so those are the other two resources that you'll have seen on that page. But just to say, whether you're an individual, a teacher, a community group, a large organization, a business, there's just so many ways that you can take part, and what you do really does matter. And actually I will just end on a really fun note as well, which is Refugee Week overlaps with the World Cup this year. So they launch on the same, I think just around the same dates. So we're going big on football this year. So people who know me will know that I don't know anything about football. I have become a little bit of a football expert, and we're planning loads of football activities for Refugee Week this year. So we're planning watch parties of the World Cup. So could your group organize a World Cup screening party? Because sometimes playing sports is obviously so meaningful, but actually watching sports together can be just as meaningful. I know that lots of people are planning football related activities, but if you're not and you're wondering about what you could do, that would be like a really nice thing to do. So and I think that's it for me.
Cool. So one of the easiest and most popular ways people organize an event during Refugee Week is by hosting a film screening. So for the past 2 years, we've run the Refugee Week Film Festival, which makes it simple to gather people around powerful films that open up conversations and inspire action. To tell us more about this year's program, I am pleased to welcome Ornella Mutoni, a producer and documentary filmmaker who is curating this year's film festival. Ornella.
Hello. Can you hear me all good? Amazing. Nice to see everyone in the chat. Super exciting. I'm Ornella. I'm a producer at Counterpoints Arts, and I make documentaries as well. And at Counterpoints, the initiative I work on with my colleague Leif is all about how it's called Pop Change, and it's all about how we can use the power of pop culture for social change, and that is how we can shift narratives about migrants and refugees in film and TV by making them more authentic, by having more people from lived experience in the writers' rooms, in the rooms making the films, meeting the commissioners so that they can actually be the ones to tell their own stories. And that has led us to program films regularly at Rich Mix, which is in Shoreditch in London, and also launch our production arm, Counterpoints Productions, where we will produce more stories by and for migrants and refugees. And we have, as MoYah mentioned, been the last 2 years creating the Refugee Week film program, which this year will be the Refugee Week Film Festival. And that is a super easy way for you to take part, because we really believe that film brings people together to collectively come and see stories that allows them to laugh together, feel empathy together. And we're in the 3rd year. It was previously curated by other cinemas, and this year we're curating it in-house. And I'll be curating 2 feature films and 5 shorts. 1 feature film will be fiction, 1 will be documentary, and the shorts will be across genres. And the aim is really to show lots of different ways of seeing the lives and stories of people who have experienced displacements. The films are often by teams who have also experienced displacement. The aim is also to show places that are like lesser known to places that are going through a lot of turmoil, but that allows you to think more about the human story behind the things that we are constantly seeing in the news. So the program of the final list of films should be ready by end of April, but you can already sign up on the form, which will be posted in the chat, I believe, and will be emailed to you after the conference. So you can already show an interest to sign up. And the point of the film festival is that you can watch these at home, but you can also host your own screening. So how it works, you can register your interest to organize a screening in that form. And then you can also, I should flag, you can sign up from anywhere in the world, which is the great thing. We get the licenses, then you don't have to worry about it. And we've had screenings from Chile to Somaliland to Scotland, just absolutely everywhere. And it's always amazing to see. And then once you've signed up, you can also then start to organize your local screening. And we have a resource guide that helps you see how you do that. So you can host a screening in a community venue, in a school, in a cinema, in a library, in a cafe, in a workplace. It can really be anywhere. The only thing we ask is that you don't sell tickets, because we get licenses so for these to not be ticketed events. So it has to be a free event, which hopefully is a good thing. And the films will be available on the streaming platform Vimeo. And we also provide all the marketing materials so that you can like post images from the posters of the film so that you can like bring an audience to the screening. If you're at home and you're watching, you still need to sign up. But if you want to watch it at home, all you need is your laptop and an internet connection. So that is also super easy. And yeah, in the coming months, we'll just be sending out the final films, the resource guide, and the marketing materials. So yeah, we're super excited this year to just find out where in the world these screenings happen, and get the audience feedback and do it again, because it's also a really great way to also promote films by these filmmakers whose films don't always easily get seen after their festival run. And yeah, that's it from the Refugee Week film program. So definitely sign up. If you didn't see it in the chat, we'll send you an email after. So yeah, thank you. Thank you to Lara and MoYah for this amazing conference. Now you'll hear from Aaliyah and Yehia, who are going to be talking about social media and all things digital.
Hi, we're just going to quickly share our screen. Bear with me 1 second. Oh my God. Oh, there we go. There we go, sorted. Hi, everyone. I'm Aaliyah.
I'm Yehia.
And we're the social media managers for Refugee Week this year. We're just going to talk really quickly about social media and how you can use social media as part of Refugee Week to harness all the power we've got. And then, we just wanted to really quickly talk about plans that we have. And as it says here, most of what we say is in the social media pack, which is the first thing we want to talk about, which is available each year for anyone taking part in Refugee Week. It's on the website. I'm sure Lara will disseminate it in many different places too. And it includes like pretty much anything you'd need to do social media for Refugee Week. Top tips, like we said, everything we say today, key messaging, and loads of assets. So please make the most of that. And then the next thing we'll be doing this year is we've actually started doing already is a video series about the theme courage. So we're working with lots of different partners to share their stories of courage. And we've shared 2 from some amazing people in the network already, which are amazing. And we also have a video planned from us that like talks about advice if you want to do them going forward. Just a reminder that social media is quite a scary place. So this is just an optional one of the many ways that you can take part in this year's Refugee Week. If you want to take part in the series, you can just DM us. Instagram is our number 1 channel we use, but obviously contact us anywhere or just email Lara. And then the third thing I want to talk about is the launch video. So for those who have taken part in Refugee Week before, each year there might be like a thunderclap moment where everybody comes together to try and make noise in the digital space, whether that was like a trending hashtag or something like that. This year we're going to try and get this one video shared really widely, and we'll be reaching out for footage. We are reaching out to people at the moment of previous Refugee Weeks, and then we will share that in social media pack just before Refugee Week, and we'll share it on the Refugee Week socials too. So there'll be lots of opportunity to get access to that video, share it on your own platforms, or just share it on stories and things like that. And just passing to Yehia.
And we have one more thing, which is very exciting for us. And as you've heard today, we have announced that we're collaborating with Quentin Blake to illustrate the simple acts for this year's Refugee Week. You can see the poster there. We actually have a the first social media post scheduled in a few minutes' time to go out. So please have a look on Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook and give that a share. So we'll be doing the simple acts through a countdown. So each week is our plan to spotlight each different simple act and to really share different voices and different activities that are happening. So this is just a brief kind of timeline of what we'll be doing. So in the lead up to Refugee Week and the week following the Refugee Week on the 15th of June. As I say, we'll be doing different spotlighting of different simple acts beginning from the 31st of March. So we'll be doing lots of different activity on social media to really make sure we can get as much kind of awareness and buzz around the simple acts. And we have a few different ideas, and it would be brilliant for anyone on this call to get involved, whether you are putting on a new activity that you're planning, or whether there's something that you're already working on that resonates with a different theme, different simple act. So the kind of our three main ideas are primarily we want to platform lived experience voices, people who have been displaced, people who are seeking safety in the UK and across the world. We're really keen to share voices, to share experiences, and to have people's lived experience and direct experience at the forefront. And as Aaliyah mentioned, we've already kicked that off with the theme around courage and the video series. We're doing that, but please help us if you have your own experiences you'd like to share. But also we will be working with the Refugee Week national partners. So there's a bunch of different organizations based in the UK mostly, but you also heard from Vicky from UNHCR this morning. So we'll be working hopefully with a lot of the different national partners, again, to collaborate with them and to really focus on the different simple act. And then finally, we'll be doing a lot of reaching out, a lot of working hopefully with celebrities and influencers, people who have big followings, big platforms, and who may be focused on nature or art or climate, and really working with them to bring in new audiences to Refugee Week and to hear about all the amazing work that we'll all be doing and that has been happening for the many past years. So if you have any connections, anyone that you think would be keen, including yourself, please reach out to us. So that is one of our main plans for Refugee Week on social media.
Yeah, and don't think you have to make something new. If you already have an event that runs each year or something you've done, like we can definitely amplify that. Doesn't all have to be like new creation. And yeah, in order to do some social media, we thought we'd share some top tips. So first and foremost, everyone is welcome. Anyone can take part. I know for some people, social media can be really daunting, but you don't need to be an expert. And like I always say, it's better to get something out than not post at all. Like literally the most simple posts, even on the Refugee Week channels that we have shared, like simple values posts or simple information sharing always performs the best. So yeah, definitely just get started with simple posts. Don't feel you have to have like all the bells and whistles. And then that kind of leads me to be authentic. So yeah, don't feel like you need all the information. You need to be a policy expert on say like the anniversaries or things going on in the news, or have like a super whizzy video. The main like aim for us and for anyone taking part in Refugee Week is connecting your message with your audience. So really like, yeah, if it's a speaking to camera video with like just without edits, perfect. If it's something really simple, if it's just something written, like just as long as it's authentic to who you are, that is amazing. And you'll see some of the videos we've shared recently, like hopefully that comes through. Like every time a different voice speaks, the content is different depending on how that person is. If you're an artist, share it via art, like whoever you are, definitely be authentic. And as I already said, definitely use the assets that are in the social media pack, maximize the use of those, share those, make the most of what's there, like copy messaging. Like Refugee Week is open for everybody, so please take what you can out of those packs or out of posts you've seen on our channels already, and like share things that already exist. Totally fine to do. And then Refugee Week is an open community powered festival, so also working as a community is super important. So you don't want to post, you just want to get involved, following accounts, follow our account, follow some people we're engaging with, share different posts on your stories or in your groups, all like that people might want to get involved with, and also engaging, like dropping people comments on when they're sharing their story can be such a supportive way of getting involved in social media. And we we really want the Refugee Week movement to be like such a supportive and community building space. So yeah, definitely do that. Yeah, hopefully that will help. But like I said, we're always here to give more tips.
Yeah. And the final thing we have today is social media, as most of you will be aware, many of you will be aware, is a very powerful tool. It can be used to foster great relationships. It can be used to build community and maintain all the wonderful work that we were all doing, and to be kind of being made aware of that and to engage with that. Fortunately, as you'll also be aware, social media can have a negative side to it. So we just want to share a few quick tips that are also available in the pack once you download that. But a few tips on how to stay safe online, to look after your mental health, your well-being, and to look after others as well. So number one, unfortunately, social media is full of trolls, full of people who might be kind of bad actors, who might be looking to share negative views, looking to annoy people online, and especially with issues and topics like migration and refugee rights, that will attract a lot of the wrong people, a lot of people who are misinformed and share disinformation and have really negative, kind of disappointing views. So number one is, please don't engage with people who are trolls. They may be like bots, they may be fake accounts, but also maybe people with just looking to share hatred. So first and foremost, look after your health. As I say, on social media, you can often report and block people, you can hide comments, you can do quite a few different tools and utilize that, but just make sure you do not engage with people if you feel like they are just there to be kind of hateful for the sake of being hateful. Number two is to avoid posting sensitive information. So especially if you have a public facing account, please avoid posting personal information like your email address, like your phone number, or where you live. Just be really careful with what you share there, because a lot of what can happen on social media can stay on there, or people can use that in a negative and harmful way. So make sure you be careful with that. And as I mentioned, make sure you look after your mental health, look after yourself. Social media can feel quite overwhelming. A lot of us will do doom scrolling, or will want to argue with people or engage with people online, but make sure that we look after ourselves. And if anything's happening online, that doesn't mean we have to always engage with it. And just take breaks, even if you feel like you are very active and proactive on social media and being online. And then finally, also be kind to others. So others in your community, others that you may see online. I would say, be careful. Do not get engaged with discussions where you don't have to, or social media should be a forum like we use in real life, and things that we would say and wouldn't say in real life should also be applied online.
Yeah, and definitely one thing we all know is that so many people are doing this alongside their jobs and all their life commitments. So really just focus on like the positive parts of Refugee Week. Hopefully these things won't all be things that you come to deal with. But yeah, definitely focus on the positive, running your events, sharing resources, and like engaging with people online should definitely be the bottom of the list. But yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, like we said, reach out to Lara or DM us if you have any further questions. But good luck using social media this year. We look forward to seeing all your amazing content.
Thank you so much, Aaliyah and Yehia. Before I introduce the next performer, I just wanted to share a quick fun fact. So we actually connected with Furaha through social media. She reached out after writing a song inspired by a previous Refugee Week theme. So we're really glad that she's joining us today. Furaha Mussanzi is a singer, a songwriter, and storyteller, originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo. She came to Bradford with the family as a refugee, and now uses music and storytelling to create spaces for hope, healing, and connection in communities and schools. Furaha, thank you so much for being with us here today. Over to you.
Thank you so much for the introduction. It's such an honor to be here with all of you. This feels a bit like a full circle moment for me, because I've been involved with Refugee Week for over 10 years now. But yeah, quick story about how I wrote this song. So 2 years ago, the theme of home really inspired me. I was deep in the process of writing my own, working on my own EP album actually. And it kind of was an inspiration, but also something that made me think of, well, what does home really mean to me? How do I engage with that topic? Because I know, as some of you know, for a lot of migrants, feeling at home can be a very hard thing, or finding a sense of home. So it took me back to a place when I was 11. And so we came to the UK under my dad's student visa before we ended up in the asylum process. And I remember we received a letter from the Home Office saying we were going to get deported. And even at that tender age, I remember feeling so out of place, feeling like, so I don't belong in my own country, which is why I'm here. But here I am now wrestling with this idea of belonging. And obviously, I also lead a choir for refugees and asylum seekers, and anyone in the community here in Bradford called the Bradford Friendship Choir. And I was thinking about what their experience is and thinking about all the things that we've been talking about this morning, the narrative that we hear, the toxic narrative of migrants in the media. And I wanted to write a song that really challenged that and also affirmed that actually, no, this is my home. I belong and I feel safe here. So I'm going to sing it and I hope you enjoy it. This is my home. I belong. I feel safe here. You are my peace, my hiding place, and my refuge. This is my home. I belong. I feel safe here. You are my peace, my hiding place, and my refuge. Where else can I go? Where I am loved, no longer judged. And where else can I go? Where I am cherished, no longer turned away. Oh, where else can I go? Where I am loved, no longer judged. And where else can I go? Where I am cherished, no longer turned away. You are my home and my hope. The future's bright. You are my home and my hope. The future's bright. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. That was so beautiful. And now we're going to take a short 5-minute break. And during that break, we'll be able to continue playing some music from Furaha's new EP, which you can also find on Spotify. So make sure you check it out and save it. So please stretch, grab a drink, and we'll be back shortly for the final part of today's program.
Thank you so much, everyone. See you in 5.
This is my home, I belong, I feel safe here. You are my peace, my hiding place, and my refuge. This is my home, I belong, I feel safe here. You are my peace, my hiding place, and my refuge. Where else can I go? Where I am loved, no longer judged. This is my home, I belong, I feel safe here. You are my peace, my hiding place, and my refuge. This is my home, I belong, I feel safe here. You are my peace, my hiding place, and my future's bright. You are my home and my hope. The future's bright. You are my home and my hope. The future's bright. You are here, you never fail me. See my flaws and love me still, yeah. Captivated by your mercy, your faithfulness, it never ends. You're the best friend I've ever had. You know me through and through and never ever leave my side. I can be myself when you're around. I cannot explain the deep joy you bring me.
Sorry for that abrupt ending of the music, but it was so nice to listen to Furaha's music. So you can listen to her EP on Spotify, and I think my colleagues have shared her Instagram as well. But what a treat we've purge of beautiful performances, and the fun continues. So we are now going into the final part of today's conference. So now we're going to have a little short session really focusing on the impact of Refugee Week and what happens when communities come together to make it happen. So I'm really pleased to welcome 3 guest speakers today. So we have Anna Ball from Heal Collective, who recently wrote The Stories of Change, a new impact report looking at festivals in Gloucester, Luton and Nottingham. And she's joined by Courtney Cuffy, who runs Refugee Week Luton and is the England coordinator for City of Sanctuary, and Elaheh Raofi, who's an artist that's been involved with Refugee Week Nottingham. So over to you 3. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's wonderful to see you.
Hey everyone, really nice to be here. I'm just going to share some slides, which I'm going to talk to a little bit today. Let me get that going for you. So I am here on behalf of Heal Collective. I'm one of the team members who worked on the Theories of Change reports over the course of the last year. But I'm here today to talk about Stories of Change, which was another report that was commissioned by Counterpoints Arts. And they commissioned this report because they wanted to understand what Refugee Week does on the ground, the difference that it makes to individuals, to communities, to society. And the way that we did this report was to focus in on 3 cities across the UK that had Refugee Week festivals, though we know that there are many more, all doing incredible things. But we focused on these case studies and we spoke with a really wide range of people across each of these cities to find out what had happened and what difference it had made at all sorts of different scales, from the scales of the individual through to the communal, through to the societal, even through to the planetary, the way that we think about the environment and politics and our rights. So this report resulted in 3 case studies. And what we found is that Refugee Week is making a difference to people's lives at all sorts of scales, from the impact that it has on individuals' sense of well-being, their sense of being a community, through friendships that they develop, through new networks. For example, the story of Iz, who we met on Luton Refugee Week, who had volunteered during his own asylum journey. We also discovered that Refugee Week can make a difference at citywide scales. When we spoke with people on Gloucester Refugee Week, we discovered the ways in which it had changed their whole sense of their city's identity. They discovered a new place story, the idea that they were a port of welcome, rather than a city in which maybe communities of sanctuary seekers had been peripheral or marginal within that community. We also discovered that Refugee Week was making a difference to the ways in which people seeking asylum were approached and integrated into working practices across NHS trusts, local councils, local authorities. And we also discovered the difference that Refugee Week makes to individuals who may be running their own businesses, who might be creatives, who might not have typically worked with communities of people who are refugees or seeking sanctuary before, but who found that this made a difference to their own practice and their own work when this opened up for them. So you'll be able to find out about some of those insights in the the Stories of Change report, which is on the Refugee Week website. I'll share the link to this at the end. And we hope that you dive into it when you are developing your own Refugee Week festivals. And to give you some key takeaways, some top tips for how to create change through your Refugee Weeks, the report includes this series of top tips on inspiring change drawn from across those contexts. So we hope you'll take a look at the report and maybe draw some inspiration from it. But rather than talking you through loads of those insights today, we thought it would be much more interesting for you to hear firsthand from a couple of people featured within the report, in order to find out a little bit more about their stories of change through working on Refugee Week. So I'm joined today, first of all, by Courtney Cuffy from Luton City of Sanctuary.
Can you hear us? I'm so sorry. I don't think you were on presenter mode. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay, Lara.
I mean, we're hanging on to every word, so we didn't miss anything. But just in case you did need to share anything, sorry.
Your screen sharing is poor. Okay, so is it not sharing?
We can just see the front cover of the page.
Okay, let's try this now.
Oh, there we go. Perfect, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, that's all right. You didn't miss much. Let me zip back. So there were some pages from the report that I shared from how to inspire change, some feature stories from people whose stories are shared within the report, and particular citywide case studies. So those were the slides. And we also thought about how impact was rippling at different levels through Refugee Week. Okay, so I'm going to come now to Courtney, who we spoke with on Luton Refugee Week. And Courtney is from Luton City of Sanctuary. And if it's okay, I'm going to interview Courtney just for 5 minutes, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about herself and the work she did and what difference it makes. So hi, Courtney.
Hello.
Hi, thank you so much for being here today. So would you be able to start off just by introducing yourself and telling everyone what your job is and what your role was on Luton Refugee Week? Thanks.
Of course. So my name is Courtney and my full-time role is England Coordinator for City of Sanctuary UK. For anyone that doesn't know us, we're a movement of welcome made up of thousands of everyday people all around the country who are stepping up to support people seeking sanctuary in local communities. We support networks ranging from grassroots voluntary groups to core community pillars such as local authorities, libraries, educational institutions, and many, many more. Excuse me. And we support them to embed welcome and drive institutional change. And in addition to my national role, and I think more importantly for this conversation, I also volunteer with my local City of Sanctuary group in Luton, which is a town 30 miles north of London. And for the last 2 years, I've been coordinating the town's Refugee Week programming.
Amazing. Yeah. So one of the really interesting insights that we drew from this report is the number of different ways in which Refugee Weeks are set up. And in Luton, it's led by Courtney via Luton City of Sanctuary. In Gloucester, it's led via Gloucester Guildhall, which is a local authority arts venue. In Nottingham, we're set up as a non-profit volunteer and organisation. So it's really interesting to have found that out. And Courtney, could you tell us now a little bit about what you did through Luton Refugee Week, personally and as a kind of citywide initiative?
Yeah, so we've been celebrating Refugee Week for 2 years. Last year was our second, and our main events included Services Day, where we engaged over 30 local organisations who don't often do outreach within refugee communities to come and share information about their services and provision, which went down really well. We had over 100 people attend from sanctuary seeking communities that got to understand more about things that they can access across the town. We did a film screening, and that was something that we always look forward to. So we're very much looking forward to what Ornella's put together for this year. We always try and fit one of the screenings in. We do day trips, trips to London. We try to squeeze a beach trip in if the weather's good. By far, our most popular event is the football tournament. Last year, we had around 60 players, most of them with lived experience of seeking sanctuary, and they came together for a super fun but very serious day of football. And we round the week up with a community festival. So we have food, music, activities, performances, generally just a space for really good vibes and opportunities to connect with locals. And usually, again, the weather's quite good. Last year, we had over 400 people attend, and we hope to grow that this year. So in my role specifically, we've just actually today, we've had our first kind of planning meeting as a network for Luton City of Sanctuary, which is a range of around 20 local organisations. So we just start the ball rolling, delegating out different kind of tasks and opportunities to get involved, and we try and encourage new organisations to join us as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, and it's been such a successful initiative in Luton. And one of the things that emerged as being really inspiring and a really useful model for other refugee weeks is your kind of consortium working model and the way in which you draw together this amazing network of people who contribute to Refugee Week. So Courtney, could you talk a little bit about what difference you felt Luton Refugee Week made to Luton? I think it's really easy when we're doing Refugee Week to sort of get so caught up in the idea that we've got to make it happen that we don't always take time to sort of step back and think, well, actually, what emerged through it? What was its impact on Luton? But could you tell me from your perspective what you saw changing maybe in communities in Luton, maybe in individuals, maybe even in your own work and your own perspectives?
Absolutely. I think for us, because we're still quite new to celebrating Refugee Week, it's still early days in terms of measuring impact. But I think after only 2 years of participating, the biggest difference I've seen is the partnership working and the sector relationships that really thrived. The Luton City of Sanctuary Network itself has grown as a result of this, and we've seen members that have joined through Refugee Week programming and activities continue to collaborate throughout the year. I think it's also been really, really interesting and positive to welcome private sector businesses into the space where really, after conversations, they've never really engaged with anything to do with migration, but now they're a staple part of us celebrating Refugee Week and broadening their kind of access and support throughout the year. We've strengthened our relationship with the local authority, and we hope that we can encourage them this year to really speak up for Sanctuary on a larger scale, using Refugee Week to really foster cultural exchange and connection in Luton. And I think the most important impact has been providing people with lived experience of seeking sanctuary the opportunity to develop the programme and get involved at every level. And it's something that, again, we really hope to build on for this year and future years. We're really committed to doing this for the long haul. And I think that's even on the quote on the screen. So sorry if I've said that again. And I think finally, on a personal level for me, Refugee Week is a highlight of the year. It really provides respite from the very toxic and hostile environment that we operate within. Moving away from a frontline role over the past couple of years, this provides me the opportunity to get back on the ground and really connect with people in a creative and meaningful way. So they're the kind of overview of the impact and the difference that we've been seeing over the past couple of years.
Amazing. And if you dive into this report, anyone who goes on to read it at home, you'll hear some of the stories of people who took part and the really huge difference that it made to them as individuals and that they saw emerging through the work they did. Thank you so much, Courtney. It's been a really inspiring case study to look at, and I hope that people read it of interest. Fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm going to shift now to talking to Elaheh Raofi, who has a different position in relation to Refugee Week. Hi, Elaheh. Good to see you today.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you, all of you. Yeah.
So Elaheh is a freelance artist, and we work with her on Nottingham Refugee Week. I should say, full disclosure, that's the context that I'm on the organising committee for. Hello to everyone else from Nottingham Refugee Week. I know James and Juliet are also here, amongst others as well. But Elaheh, you're going to talk to us a little bit about your quite different perspective on how you were involved and what difference you saw it making to the people who you worked with through beautiful events that you ran for Nottingham Refugee Week. And I'm just going to hand over you to do that, but I'll change the images for you. Trust me, I've got it now. So go ahead.
Thank you. Well, thank you again, and hi again. Sorry if I jumped in early. So as you know, I'm Elaheh. I'm a multidisciplinary artist based in Nottingham, in the UK, and my practice spans installation, films, and participatory workshops. And I'm interested in using creative work to explore identity, culture, and also bridging Middle Eastern and Western perspectives, because I'm originally from Iran. And as a part of Refugee Week in Nottingham, I led a weaving workshop that focused on collective making. And the idea was to create a shared space where people could come together, express themselves through a simple creative process. And for me individually, what really stood out was how people responded. Like, you could see people who didn't know each other or at the beginning felt quite hesitant to engage with everyone, started connecting, and the conversations opened up. And also in terms of the work they made, the colors they chose often reflected on where they came from, their culture, their background. And step by step, those workshops begin to feel very safe and welcoming. And for me, it was really meaningful to see how creative practice can create that connection. And also it helped me to grow in my practice, and it also opened up a lot of doors to more collaborations. I worked with Justice Museum, Refugee Roots, and also Playhouse, and all of that was because of the workshop I did in Refugee Week. So again, it's about creating connection in that moment, and also the experience that continues beyond it. It's amazing. So yeah, that's and also the photos you see, like the ones on left are the ones for the Refugee Week, and the other one on the right side was a recent one that I did for refugees, and the message behind it was like, we all like bees, and we create this hive where we can all live together and help each other to grow.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And Elaheh, it's so appropriate that you were using the motif of weaving in your work, because one thing that we found in talking to you and in talking to many others across the Refugee Week network is the role of arts in weaving communities and weaving partnerships and weaving working practices together. And so that's just a beautiful illustration of it. Thank you so much for sharing your work. So if you want to find out more at home about these stories and other stories of change, to find inspiration and insight from them, please go and check out the report. It's also accompanied by a deep dive informational report, which has been published alongside it. It's a slightly more technical report. It's currently up on the Refugee Week website under the news and blog. And if you're interested in finding out about more about Heal Collective, who produced this report, feel free to check out our website there. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Anna, Courtney, and Elaheh. That was so wonderful, and I love that report so much. We think a lot about evaluation and impact here, and how do we measure, and we talk about these big numbers, and 2 million people participated. This is the first time we've done a deep dive into 3 cities looking at the impact happening locally. So it's really interesting, and I invite you all to have a read of the full report. And thank you so much, Anna, for your amazing work on that, and having so many wonderful conversations and bringing all of that together. And it was so nice to get a little taste of it today. And I just wanted to point out, someone wrote such a lovely comment in the chat, which is so nice. I'm just going to read it out because it's so lovely. It's so refreshing to hear all of this fantastic work and projects happening across the country, when most of what we hear is the hate and adversity. I have found my people. Welcome. Thank you so much. I love that. The spirit of that is so much what Refugee Week is about. And we hope that these little moments throughout the year can help keep that spirit alive beyond the week as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. So now we're going to hand over to MoYah, actually, to think about how do you start your own Refugee Week if there isn't one happening. And you've got some pretty good insights because you've gone on that journey quite recently.
That's right. So last year, I had the opportunity of co-launching Refugee Week in Portugal alongside my colleague, Carlota Matos. And we started off by researching what was already taking place in Portugal. And our aim wasn't to take over or replicate existing projects, but really to support and collaborate and try to provide more visibility to things that were already taking place. We reached out to people, had lots and lots of conversations via email, social media, phone calls, or WhatsApp. And then we invited people to a Zoom session where everyone could come together. And we basically introduced Refugee Week. We were able to answer questions. And Lara was really, really helpful in terms of providing deeper insight to the history of Refugee Week, as well as directing to resources that already existed. And through those Zoom sessions, we were able to connect with each other. We were able to what we also did is we created these documents that everyone that wanted to participate could fill in and kind of fill in who they were, what they wanted to provide, or ideas that they had, and what support they were looking for. So through that, people were able to connect venues to artists to facilitators, etc. And I guess my role and Carlota's role was really there to hold the space. We ensured that we were checking in regularly through Zoom sessions, and try to just support, advise, and continue connecting people. What we saw that was really, really successful was having a social media page. We have an Instagram page, which is Refugee Week PT. And through that, we were able to connect with other organizations. People could contact us. We also set up an email address, which is refugeeweekpt@gmail.com. And that was also really good for people to be able to just get in touch with us, to find out, email us, and have conversations about what they wanted to do, and just continue organizing. And also through our Instagram, we encourage people to tag us, so that way we could just reshare events that were already taking place.
Amazing. You've actually had quite a long history with Refugee Week, and you've been involved with a lot of different cities. I don't know if you want to just share a little bit about your experience, how you first connected, and all the different ways that you've been involved. Sorry for you involved.
No, it's okay. I think the first time that I got involved with Refugee Week, I was invited to this conference, but it was like a physical conference. And I was just blown away by just this idea, the concept of Refugee Week. Attended, listened to some discussions and went around, and I was just like super inspired. And then after that, I was invited to perform in a few different cities, in Manchester, and I believe it was Leicester. And then having moved to Bristol, I was able to get more involved in the Bristol Refugee Festival, to perform there, but then afterwards to also deliver some projects where I was able to mentor emerging musicians with lived experience to also gain confidence to perform, and then eventually now co-launch Refugee Week Portugal alongside Carlotta. So I've been in various roles, and it's been such an amazing journey.
It is so amazing. It's so amazing with just a lot of passion, dedication, determination, and just this amazing skill of bringing people together that you and Carlotta have to convene and hold that space. And what started with one Zoom last year ended up being 33 events in 4 different cities, and there you're already planning your second year festival. Last year there was new festivals as well in the Netherlands, in Japan, in Italy as well. So if you're on the call today, hello. And there's already exciting conversations. I got an email that in Kenya conversations are happening, USA conversations. There's a little bit of activity in the States, in New Jersey and LA as well, and we're hoping to grow that. So everyone is so warmly invited. So if you're not already connected with what's happening near you, to start your own, and we're always available to have conversations. You can email me. If I'm able to, I would love to come in person as well. I mean, anywhere in the world would be nice, but normally in the UK, it's a little bit easier for me to get to. But always very, very happy to help convene those spaces, whether they're online or in person, to share a little bit about what's happening around the world, a little bit of the refugee model, and just really, it's an opportunity for people to connect with each other. So I'll put my email in the chat, and I think on the last slide when we end today, you'll have access to my email as well. I've also been emailing everyone, so you're probably already sick of my emails, but yes, thank you so much, MoYah. So now we're moving on to our last little session, which I'm going to be speaking about, which is showing solidarity and staying safe. So yes, I guess just to really spend a couple of minutes, how do we do Refugee Week in a way that's welcoming and supportive and safe in a time, we've been talking a lot about the current context. So just to really take an opportunity to acknowledge the current climate and context we're navigating in. As we all know, not just in the UK, but around the world, the conversation in politics and media and the public is so much around crisis, urgency, and fear around the topic of migration. And so, of course, there's really, really genuine and real concerns about safety of participants and well-being of audiences as well. So for many event organizers, I'm sure many of you who are maybe even on this call, this is not a new experience, and there's so much experience in our network about how to run events safely and to deal with problems if they do arise. If you do have concerns, you can come to the session after today, or if you're not available, we can always have another conversation. So you can drop me an email. And we're also developing a guidance, a resource for community organizers around safeguarding and safety. But for the time being, we're just going to share in the chat 2 organizations that have already pulled resources together. One of them is an organization called IMIX, and they've got a lot of guidance for media, social media, but also guidance on talking about migration. And then also another organization called Hope Not Hate that have a lot of advice and resources around community safety and responding to hostility. So those are resources that already exist. And we also signpost those resources in all of the packs that I mentioned earlier. But also you can work with your local council, your local library, your venues, community organizations who are really used to running public events and will already have safeguarding in place and be used to having these kinds of conversations. The main thing is that no one is expected to become a crisis manager expert, and you really just look at Refugee Week as any normal community event. So plan events with your venue, have these conversations, know who your contact is if needed, and reach out for support. There's so much local expertise and resources in your area as well. And really, yeah, just to say that as important as all of that, solidarity is just as important. And Refugee Week works because people are supporting one another, in conversation with one another, collaborating with one another, sharing experience, advice, and good practice, not just locally, but nationally and internationally as well. And as we've been talking about, Refugee Week is so important now more than ever before. So we are seeing everywhere, and we've just heard from 3 different cities, but that Refugee Week creates spaces for people to be in relationship with each other. So create spaces where people feel seen, a sense of belonging, and where stories and creativity are shared on people's own terms, and where joy and grief can also exist side by side. So we're going to be continuing these conversations in the networking and Q&A after, and that's an optional event, so you don't need to come if you're not able to, but you're very welcome to stay on and ask questions and hear how other people are approaching it as well.
We are now coming to the end, and the Zoom, for those that want to re-watch the Zoom or weren't able to be here for the whole session, the Zoom will be available. What we're going to do is we're going to edit it into smaller segments so you can digest it easier. I'd like to say a big thank you to all of the speakers and all of the performers. But before we say...
I think I can take, yeah. So basically, just to say a really big thank you to all of you for being here today. And actually, I was messaged by my colleague saying the shop is not working. I'm so sorry. I think that was me last night clicking a wrong button in the back of the website. So I will fix that. And everyone who signed up to today's conference will get a follow-up email. But I also recommend following us on social media and signing up to the newsletter so you get recording of today. And all the resources as well, so you can start planning your Refugee Week events. But a really huge thank you to all of you for being here, for making Refugee Week happen, to all of our wonderful speakers and performers, to MoYah, you've been so amazing, and to my colleagues who've been answering questions in the chat as well. So yeah, so now we're going to have a little break until 1:30, which 1:30 UK time. So we finished a little bit early. So actually, maybe what I'll do is stay on the chat. Everyone is welcome to leave and say goodbye, but I'll maybe answer any questions that haven't been answered. And then I'll see you all at 1:30 on the other Zoom if you're able to. I really hope that you leave today feeling really encouraged and ready for the next Refugee Week. And yeah, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing how you celebrate. Thank you, everyone. I really wish we were all in the same space. We could just be hugging, having a little tea or a coffee. Maybe we can look at the chat and... so nice. Thank you. And I know there was a lot of questions about the chat and saving the chat, so we will do our best to archive that in a way that is useful to everyone. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Yay, look at all the love emojis. Okay, so there's some questions in the chat. What's the next session at 1:30? So at 1:30, there is an optional Q&A and networking session. So I will, how is the best way to share this link? Do I just share on the chat? I will share on the chat the Zoom. So it will be an interactive normal Zoom meeting. So it won't be on webinar. People will be able to ask questions and connect with one another, share projects, that sort of thing. So it was a separate Zoom link and a separate Eventbrite, but if you haven't signed up, please no worries. We will send you the link shortly on the chat. That's my mum. Hi. Hola, mama. Te quiero. That's really sweet. I think my uncle also. Hello. Hola, Enrique, if you're on the call. Nice to see you. And that's my mother-in-law. Hi, Malou. It's a family affair. Thank you so much all for being here. It's been so wonderful. And MoYah, you said you invited lots of people from lots of different places. Did you say? Yeah.
Yes, it's so nice to see so many different people. Yes.
Okay, so it's not the same link. It's a different Zoom link. So we will share that link with everyone. 2 seconds. I'm just going to find out the best way to share that link. Okay, everyone. So if you're still on the call and wanting to join the other Zoom at 1:30, that is in 40 minutes, 39 minutes. That is the right Zoom. It's an interactive session. It won't be on webinar mode. Oh, someone's going to Mozambique.
Oh, nice.
Any tips, recommendations?
Lots of, try all the food. Lots of, definitely visit all the art spaces in Maputo. Enjoy yourself. Oh, what does that do?
Let's try this.
Okay, just.
So this is a very anticlimactic end to the conference, but we're just making sure that everyone that needs the link has the link. So thank you so much, everyone. You're very welcome to end the call if you've got the link, or if you're leaving us today. Thank you so much. There's going to be such riveting recordings for that everyone's going to want to watch after this. But thank you so much, everyone, for coming today. It's been so wonderful. You've been a wonderful, wonderful audience. The energy coming off the chat was so alive and brilliant. So many great projects, and so nice to see the sense of community being built, even just in the chat. And sorry we were not able to see all of your faces and hear your voices today. Okay. Did I put my email in the chat? I will write my email in the chat right now. So this goes directly to my inbox. So you can email on the refugeeweek@counterpoints.org.uk. Thank you, everyone, so much, and see you soon. Okay, final goodbye, everyone. We're going to end the call now. I think everyone that needs the link has the link, and we'll see some of you in 35 minutes. And thank you so much. It's been so wonderful to be with you and share these moments. I think that's it for me. Okay, bye.